Hey, Pearl, how are you today? Hey, and here's Minnie. Look at the pretty flowers I just planted. What? Oh, you're right. I almost forgot. Another day of soul care.
Hi, everybody. This is James M. Prague. How are you? Nice to be with you today and the Soul Care Intensive. And again, thank you for your patience, bearing with me and my new staff. We're trying to put things together as far as Facebooks and all of the openings of shows and graphics and so forth. So we're having a little issue with Facebook because I did 28 Days of Love, and then the password didn't work. So we're getting that all together today. We're trying to figure that out. So next time you see this Soul Care Intensive, it'll be the actual graph for Soul Care Intensive. So the Soul Care Intensives really are just for more intensive discussion about certain courses I have in my school and certain things that are going on that you might be very interested in. And that's what good. So today we're going to talk a little bit about, let me the comments here. And welcome you all. Hi, Linda, Teresa, Kenny, Denise, Woodstock, Scott. Hey, Scott. Hi, Jenny. We're working on a Shamrock sale. I have a yearly sale for St. Patrick's Day, and that's coming up. It'll be 25% off any course, and that'll be coming up next week. We have that going on. And then right now we're really talking about the cruise, which is going to be happening. Of course, you've all heard about that in August. So again, I just want to emphasize with people who are writing me, asking me about roommates, and is it okay to do that? And my thought was, I've done so many of these cruises that most of the time, 75% of the time, people don't know each other when they get there, and we put them together as roommates. You're never really with each other in the room. You sleep together in the separate beds, and you get ready. But otherwise, you're out doing workshops, you're out on the ports, you're out doing different excursions. So it's okay if you want to have a roommate. That's okay to do that. So don't feel weird about that. I mean, it's up to you. But I would do it. I mean, I have no problem with that because we're never together. Even when I was with someone and I brought some friends on the cruise and shared the room, we were never in the same room at the same time. So it's okay to do that. So don't feel weird about that. If you want to go on the cruise and we have roommates for you, we can set you up with someone. We've got 30 different cabins with people who need roommates. So feel free. And it's a little over $1,000. So it's not bad. So feel free to go to my vanprog.com and there it is right there in the comments right there. And please join me because it'll be less when I do, and it's going to be an intense one. It's going to be a really amazing one. And we're going to do some trance work. We're going to do some physical mediumship. We're going to do some astral projection work. We're going to do some near-death. We're going to do all different types of things we're going to do. So lots of readings, lots of connections as far as stepping into that space of receiving impressions from spirit, and how do you go your day to day knowing that they are with you. So it's going to be a good one. And the next course that's coming out will be, and a lot of people ask me about this one too, and that's my Mediumship 1 certification course, which I'm opening up next week. It'll be opening it up. And for those who want a little bit more about the Mediumship 1 course, which will be next week, we're opening it up. I started that the first course I ever started in my school. And it is, how can I describe it? It's for people who want to have a deeper connection with spirit, with the realization that they are a soul having a human experience. It's having a deeper connection with your loving family and friends and your guides from the other side. I'm going to read a little bit here about what I have written down here. Gain confidence or ability, clarity to distinguish your own thoughts and feelings from those of the spirit. So a lot of people have a trouble with discernment, which is, am I imagining this or is this coming to me? And so we do several lessons on that as far as learning discernment between yourself and that of the spirit, where it's originating from. I will tell you this, that mediumship in my life has changed my life. And it wasn't, and I've said this many times, you might have heard this, that it wasn't really the actual doing the readings, which are incredible, amazing, incredible experiences. But the development of the mediumship was really the most important for me, because you learn to grow and expand. And it's very much like that flower, in that you're learning to grow and nurture and slowly grow and understand things and look at things differently and behave differently, and then look at the people around you differently and the world you're in. So it's really it's hard to describe it, but the development of the mediumship was really very, very important to me. It also helps us replace old doubts and fears that we used to live with new ways of living life and letting go of procrastination, bad habits, bad fears, old fears, gaining confidence in things that we do, having a certain sense of determination in our choices in life, understanding ourselves more. The more one knows themselves, the easier it is to live life, because I believe make the right choices. The more you know yourself, make the right choices for yourself. You're aligned with the right choices for yourself. So I believe that to be true too. And also, I think when you study a self-expansion course, which is Mediumship 1, it helps you to let go of things that are less for you, and to always look for what is better for you, what is optimum for you. Don't settle. Go for what's better. So that's what it's about, and start living your true soul purpose, which you came back here on this earth to learn, and to go through lessons you've come to learn and understand. And don't take life for granted, but you become part of life, and you it just helps. It just really opens you up. That's Mediumship 1. It also teaches you basic guidance and coaching, how to bring through accurate details. Not that you're guessing or feel, but you're actually laying upon you the impression of a detail, of an emotion, of a feeling, of a memory, and you actually can feel them. And it's entering into a multisensory experience, Mediumship 1. That's really what it's about. And also, one of the most valuable things when I started my school years ago, which I mentioned to you before, was I never realized there'd be such a community came out of this, but there's like-minded people coming together. And that really is beneficial for people to come together of like minds who can have different discussions. And we have closed Facebook groups for those Mediumship 1 students. So it'll be a great, great experience for everybody, and getting inside how to help other people. And also, it just opens up, it broadens your horizons. It broadens your expansion of the world we live in, and yourself in this world, and your impact on other people. And it just helps with that. And realizing, of course, there is no death, that there's only life, and how you can create the life that you want based upon your thoughts and your actions and what you do to help another person. And so it's a wonderful course, and that'll be open next week, the program. I'm going to read a little bit about it, about the Mediumship 1 course. I'm going to leave all the other stuff out. It's about becoming the person you were born to be. It's dedicated to giving you the tools, strategies, and support to help you awaken your most sacred gifts. Ultimately, James truly cares about you. That's me. I wrote this. It's not a cookie cutter course, and instead, and as I've been known by other people, by other practitioners who have said to me, your school is very different than any of the ones I've seen online. I said, yeah, it is. What makes it unique will guide you toward creating a mediumship practice that resonates with your soul. And you never have to be anything that you're not. Never try to attain a skill set that's someone else's. You never can compare yourself to somebody else. Less or more, just be yourself. And I push that a lot in the program too. And who's it for? Does everybody take Mediumship 1? Well, it's really for those beings who feel called to want to do soul work, to soul connection, soul communication for themselves and others, to heal others in that space, whether it's through grief or loss or life problems, counseling work with spirit. It's also, I find it goes hand in hand with therapy work. My good friend Kelly White is a therapist, and she's also a medium. And when I first met Kelly, I said, you're more of a medium than a therapist. She goes, oh, no, I'm a therapist. I said, no, you're a medium. But the best is putting it together, because all mediums, I think, are therapists in many ways. So it makes it very powerful for therapists and coaches and teachers. It helps them to gain insights from spirit to help other people. So they have a whole different perspective, an added perspective, if you will, to help people with their situations by having that connection with the spirit world, by having that sense of what that soul's lesson is to learn. So it's very, very good. It also helps, of course, with them going through the transition of grief and healing, and helping them to have a better understanding of what that experience is like, and the realization that, of course, their loved ones are indeed alive. There is no such thing as death. And that certainly does help, because once one realizes there's no death, you begin to live life fully. So that's really what it's about. So if you're already a working medium and desire a fine-tune fine-tuned skill set way of tuning in, it's good for you. I don't believe, even if you've been doing this for many, many years, there's always things you can learn from the beginning, things that are covered. So I always go back to the beginning of a course. And I've been doing this 40 years, but I'll go back to the very beginning of a course because it might be a different perspective or way in to look at something which I haven't done yet. So that's Mediumship 1 certification course coming out next week, a couple of weeks actually. I'll let you know about that, but that's something you should look into. Okay. There we go. Nancy Lake, I am a medium. I am a medium. I am not as fast as you. You are rapid fire. Okay. Let me just get you up here quickly here so I can get you up here. Okay, there you go. Okay. I am a medium. I'm not as fast as you. You are rapid fire. Someone recently came to me to connect with a departed loved one. I could not get past his depression. I'm not sure who the depression you're talking about. You're talking about your client's depression or the spirit's depression. I suggest that we just flip over some cards and see what is there. It worked. About halfway through the reading, I shouted, "Oh my God, who got shot in the chest?" I almost felt as though it was me. It was his brother, and it was gang-related violence. I must think that as us mediums, intuitive counselors need a support group too. Nancy, it depends upon your development. So you have to be in control of that. So when you feel something, I feel shot, you have to have that sense of being objective. So you're one step out of it. So you don't feel like you're involved in it. Oh my God, I'm being shot. You have to be observant that there is a shot made here. I know that there's a gunfire here. And that's really how it should be. And you really shouldn't pick up the depression of that person. You should be aware of it, observe it, but don't get involved in it because that's wrong. You don't want to be involved in it. You want to be one step away. It's very much like a surgeon doing an operation. And how can I be a surgeon if I'm afraid of blood? So it's nothing to do with me. It's to do with the work. So as a medium, you're going to step back enough to be able to do the work in a concise way, honest way, and a clear way that you're not involving yourself, that you're just giving out the information. So that comes with development. It's not just I'm a medium. You have to develop the correct way of doing that and learning how to step back and surrender and be objective. Okay? So I hope that helps. So Mediumship 1 would be very good for you to take that. Okay, so I'll ask more questions. Hi, Lori. I was not able to get into your course that's being held with you and Gordon Smith this weekend. It's sold out. You have a waiting list. We don't have a waiting list, sweetheart. We really don't. It's about modern mediumship. We don't have a waiting list, but we're going to have it in the fall. We decided it was so popular that we sold out right away, and we're going to have another course in the fall. We're limiting it to, I think, 60 people. So we'll have one in the fall, Lori. Don't worry. Okay. Cassie, hi. I'm comparing myself to others. Why would you do that? Everybody else is taken. Why just be yourself? Everybody else is taken. Just be you. It's a shame, Cassie, to compare yourself to somebody else because you're not them and they're not you. You come with your own unique gifts and abilities. And really the discovery here is for you to get involved in who you are and discover these wonderful things about yourself. By looking at other people, comparing ourselves to others, we waste that time and that energy. So we really want to take the moments to understand who we are. It might take a while. It might not be so quick. It might take a little bit of time, but it's worth it. It's worth taking this time slowly to understand little aspects of ourselves, one step at a time. Don't rush it. No rush. No reason to rush. Evolution does not go quickly. So, and spiritual evolution doesn't go quickly. And there are no spiritual bypaths. So go slowly and enjoy learning who you are. Okay. All right. Cassie. Hi, Cassie. I believe that my spirit guides, guardian angels are with me. Do you now? Well, where would they be if they weren't with you? Let me ask you that. Okay. When I was little, my mom said I almost fell, but then something lifted me back to my feet. Yes, that's true, Cassie. That happens quite a bit. I've written about it in several of my books of stories, and many of us have had experiences where something was about to happen and something came in the way and stopped it. For instance, a car would have hit you, but for some reason it stopped right there, or you turned suddenly, or someone pulled you out of something. That does happen. And those are indeed guardian angels or guides who do that. No doubt about it. I believe that. So it happens all the time, for sure. Hi, Denise. I fell in love with all your courses, James. Thanks, Denise. Me too. I was just looking at my courses this morning in my school, And it's so well, I have to say it's so well done. My graphic designer, very gifted. And I had another man look at it yesterday from another company, and they said, wow, it's one of the nicest schools online. And it's one of the most complex e-commerce kind of schools online, which it is. And I also said, well, it's one of the most thorough online because each course, a lot of the courses, like 60 videos, like I give everything to that because I never in my life have ever done anything half-assed. I just haven't because I don't want, if someone's going to buy something, I want to make sure I give it the best I can. And every one of those courses are like that. So I want to end the course by knowing I did the best I could. Right now I'm working on a meditation course, which is coming out really, really well. And one thing I like about my meditation course I'm working on, I finished all the audio. I went out to a studio, recorded all the audios, all the meditations. We did half of the videos. I still have half to do. And I brought in a different graphic artist and a different story developer. And I love that different people are coming together with these different elements and we're coming together forming this one course. So it's great. So that's a meditation course that we're working on right now. I'm really excited. That'll be later on in the year. That'll be out there. It'll be a very thorough meditation course. Very, very thorough meditation course. Good. Thanks, Denise. Hi, Laura Davis. My daughter just passed. I'm interested in tuning in. Okay, Laura, I'm sorry to hear she just passed. Give her a little bit of time to acclimate to the other side and a new way of living. And Laura, just a little advice here. The more you try, the harder it's going to be. So because when we try to put walls up. So it'll be the subtleness of her coming to you. So don't rush it, even though you want to. She's fine. She's okay. There's no death. And it's the analogy I'll use again, which I've used before, which helps. You think of it like the messages are very subtle messages. So when she comes to you, it'll be a very simple, sensitive message. It'll be like a feather coming down from the sky, putting out your palm and letting it land on your palm. But if you go and you try to rush for the feather, it'll move away. Same thing with a message. And especially when you have the emotion behind it, the desperation of that, which you are right now, and you have to go through that human experience. I'd give it a couple of, give it a month, but know that she's okay. Know that she's fine and that she'll come to you, but don't push it because it pushes them away. The more we push it, pushes them away. Okay, my love? You'll hear from her, Laura, when it's right. Don't worry. Don't worry, dear. Okay. Hi, Ruth. Nice from Venezuela. Very nice. Very nice. I've never been to Venezuela, but I want to go. So hopefully I will this lifetime. Ellie, will you ever come back to New York for a live event? Ellie, I will go back to New York for a live event. If you know a venue that someone wants me out there to sponsor, have them contact me and I'll come out and do it. I'm not doing as many as I used to, but I'll be out I'm going to be in Fort Lauderdale in April. So there's a big, big deal. Fort Lauderdale and St. Pete, Florida. So I'll be doing Florida in April, 2 nights in April. And the one in Fort Lauderdale, we're just putting this up now. It's going to be, there you are right there. Thank you. You have it. The Parker Playhouse. We did it once before. It was phenomenal. So that'll be Fort Lauderdale on April 15th. And that's, good. There you go. Thank you, Renee, for putting that up there. Appreciate that. It was so great. It was just a great time. I want to go back again. I demanded to go back to that Palace Theater. It was great. So we're going to do that. And then that following Wednesday, I'm going to go over to St. Pete, Florida, because we're having the Awakening with Michael Beckwith and some other speakers. It's like an Ascension convention. And I'm the main speaker there. I'm going to open up the convention that Wednesday. So that'll be in St. Pete in Florida. So Florida is April. April's Florida. So I'll be there. Okay. Nadine, thank you again for the flowers. Very beautiful. I love you. Thank you, sweetheart. Nadine said such lovely, lovely flowers. Everybody knows Nadine in my neighborhood now. She's such a sweet girl. Jerry, hi, James. How do you handle seeing spirits in restaurants or parking lots? Do you walk up and tell people or just acknowledge them but leave them alone? Oh, I don't really see many, Jerry. It's not like TV on Teresa Caputo's show. I don't believe that works that way. For me, at least for me, it doesn't. It's very rare to see a spirit objectively, which means outside of yourself. It's a very rarity to do that. I think that television is one way. I think it's entertainment. You can be mindful of a spirit around someone, but I certainly don't go out looking for them. And it's not like, oh my God, they're all around all the time. Oh my God, I can't say anything. It doesn't work that way. In the proper way of development, the correct way to develop mediumship And Teresa has not developed correctly. I love Teresa. She's a nice lady, but she was not developed correctly, nor was Tyler Henry developed correctly. Because the correct way of developing mediumship is really when you open yourself up to do the work. It's like a radio. You open yourself up, you attune yourself to a higher frequency. You open yourself up, and then you're aware of the spirit people around, and you communicate. When time is over and you're finished the communication, you turn that energy off. You bring your energy down, and you take away that emphasis. So that's the correct way. It's unfortunate that television producers are ignorant about that, about mediumship. And part of my job in this lifetime, I think, was to open people up to the right way of doing it, and John Edwards as well, the right way of doing it. But it's really interesting because, unfortunately, they want to make it sensationalistic, and it doesn't have to be that way. To me, you're teaching people. You have a sense of responsibility to teach people the right way of spirit communication and this type of work. And it doesn't work like the spirits all around, all hanging out, and you just talk to them. It doesn't work that way. So I'm sorry to say, but that's the way television is. I'm working on a show now. I'm not sure what's going to happen with it, where I go around the world with a friend of mine, and we do messages and readings and places and people, and it'll be a very different type of mediumship than you've seen before. Well, I can't say that's true. It'd love to be true. John Edward, I think, is a very talented man. I think Tony Stockwell, Colin Fry, these are the people that Lynn Probert, these are people that the quality of mediumship that I'm talking about. That's the level of mediumship I'm looking at here. And if I sound snooty, I deserve it, because the quality is high and the integrity is high. And you just don't do things, when you know what you're doing. And part of my Virgo critical Virgo mind, when I'm watching someone do the work that I teach mediumship for 40 years, and I see someone doing it the wrong way, it really irks me, because the person, and it's not their fault. I just feel like they don't know any better. So, for instance, Tyler, I mentioned before, is a nice boy, has nice ability. It stops. I don't think he's any desire to develop any further, because I think in his mind he thinks that's it, because he doesn't know any better. But I don't think there's a difference between psychic work and mediumship with him. He puts both together, and they're both very different energies. And to present that to people, people should know this is coming from an intuitive sense, and this is coming from the spirit world, and not to really ask a lot of questions. You should not ask questions. You should give statements. This is what they're telling me. And really, when you ask questions, it's just validation. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Do you understand this? Yes, or no, I don't. And when I get that, I say, well, they are telling me this. You may not understand it right now, but later you will. Please write it down. Sure enough, 5 minutes later, they understand it. Oh, that's my husband's name. So to me, being that teacher, I'm a stickler for detail and doing it the right way, because you affect so many people's lives, and you got to do it the right way. Otherwise, you can hurt people. So that's what my big thing is. Capricorn rising, integrity. Okay. All right. Dark Crystal Tarot. Okay. James, do you notice NDE stories that are different, like their experiences tailored to their soul? Thanks. So Dark Crystal, I'm going to turn you on. I want you to write this down. I'm going to turn you on to someone who's phenomenal. So the name, get a piece of paper and a pen. The name is Victor Zamet, Afterlife Communication, Victor Zamet. He sends out, he's a lawyer and a solicitor in Australia for many, many years. I think he's in the early 80s. I've known Victor a long time. And he sends out a newsletter every week, and on all different subjects. But for the past 2 years, most of them been NDEs, all different types of NDEs, out-of-body experiences, mediums. I think you would really love the references that Victor puts out there. So afterlife, evidence of the afterlife. It's cool. So look up Victor Zamet, okay? That'll help you. Hi, Courtney. Can you subconsciously block yourself from higher self and guides? Certainly you can, Courtney, without a doubt. So a lot of people, Courtney, who have lived in traumatic experiences younger, or let's say, I'm just generally saying this here, excuse me, that let's say they were younger and they had an experience with religion, and they feel that mediumship is evil and bad. There might be some block there that, oh, this is the devil's work, can't do that. And they'll block that connection with spirit. So their creature, the crown chakra, is blocked. And that's our connection to the universe. universal consciousness. So that can indeed affect that for sure. So you remember, sweetheart, that all life is a series of choices, and all choices are based upon either love or fear. So all your choices are love or fear, and that's all there is. So we should not make more than that, love or fear. And we have nothing really to fear because we are loving beings. We are souls that are made of God. God is pure love. Fear is a human emotion. It's created by humans, not created by the soul. Soul is pure love. It's the human mind that creates fear. And then they try to control people with fear. So putting things in perspective. Okay. All right, sweetheart. Good. I love these questions. These are fun. Hello, Vicky again. I honestly don't know where I would be without your courses, James. Thank you, Vicky. You're so sweet. The grief I'm going through is really rough. Your courses have kept me busy and kept me going. And grief is a big lesson, sweetheart. You know that grief is not an easy course. It's a hard one because, and I wrote the book Healing Grief, which is a great book, and you should get that book if you don't have it, because it's so chock full of wonderful insights as far as different levels of grief and letting go. And grief come every day. We deal with grief, saying goodbye to people, to friends, to jobs, to houses, to children going empty nest syndrome, to old ways of doing things. So grief is part of life. And it's life is, and if you put this in perspective, I think it helps in that life is movement. You know, life is this, the only constant we have is change, and that's what it is. And things are alive, and then they die, whatever that means, right? So they come in, they go out. They come in constantly, coming in, going out. So there's never any constant. It's movement, and part of that movement is letting go, is learning to let go. And really, when we think of grief, I would like to think of grief as the enjoyment of our time together and celebrating that time together, knowing we'll be together again, but let grief be the celebration of our times together and what we taught each other. That's what I think it is. I lost a lot of friends, and recently, just a good friend, my Cindy Williams, just passed over, and she's come through very beautifully. She said she's very self-fulfilled, and it's so funny because she said so many times people spend their whole lives looking for themselves when they're right there all the time. But we waste all that time of worry, thinking if we're good enough, we're better enough, better, good enough, acceptable. And that's such a waste of energy when we already have it inside us. And it's very, very true. So grief is a hard one, but you'll get through it. It's a human emotion that you'll have to get through. Helps us appreciate each other more, appreciate ourselves more, appreciate other people more. And maybe in the future appreciate another person that's going through that grief experience. You can help them as well. So love to you, Vicky. I know it's not an easy one. We all go through this human school. Okay. Hi, Sherry. Is roles reversal with a parent a karmic debt or karmic agreement? If so, how can we release ourselves and remain supportive? Oh, that's interesting. So it's all about learning, right? So karma could be debt, could be something you have to learn, something you did in the past that you have to learn the other way, the other side of the coin of it. So it's not a punishment. It's just learning the other side of the coin. It's usually an agreement. And the quickest way to release ourselves is love. And that's true of everything. Love is the quickest way. So forgiveness, love, quickest way to get through things. Forgiving ourselves, forgiving them. Forgive them. I love that line supposedly from Jesus. Forgive them for they know not what they do, which is true. People don't always know what they do because people are limited in their perspective sometimes. So they don't know what they do. So forgive them because they don't know any better. Very true. So love is the answer, sweetheart. Love is the quickest way to evolve. Okay. Hi, Lisa. I received messages from my guides and would like to develop my intuition and gifts further. Good. Is this course suitable for me? Yes. I really love the energy of the in-person workshops. What do you recommend? Thank you. Well, I would recommend, because these are not in-person, but I do phone calls. I would do the Mediumship 1 course would be the best thing for you, Lisa, when that comes out. And take it slow. My feeling with you, Lisa, if you don't mind me saying so, is you're go, 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 go. And that Mediumship 1 course will be really good for you, but you'll miss out on a lot if you don't take it slowly. So develop that intuition, slowly developing it. Don't miss out on the nuances. So you want to slowly develop it, because the more you slowly develop it, the more you get out of it. So I think mediumship 1 would be good for you, but don't rush it. Don't take several courses at once either. I want you just to take that one course because your mind works so fast, you're all over the place. So stay on one thing, and that mediumship 1 course would be the one course. Stay with that slowly and let yourself get fully involved in that. And then you can go to something else. But that's the one course I think you should take when it's available, but do it slowly. Okay? All right, Lisa. Okay. Good, Lisa. You're going to be at Fort Lauderdale. Yay. Come up and see me afterwards. Great. Yes, it'll be an evening at Parker Playhouse, Fort Lauderdale. It's one of the very rare times I'll be out this year so far. So please reserve your tickets. There you go at tinyurl.com. We just started finding out about this, so it'll be fun. It'll be a fun one. I haven't been out in a long time. This is February, I think it was last time. No, February? What's it? No. Last year was last time. So Sarah, hi Sarah. How best to set boundaries with a friend who's going through a healing lesson that I have just walked through and doesn't want me to go to do a healing on them, but wants to continue talking to me? That's fine. Why can't you just talk to them? You don't have to do a healing. Why would you do a healing on them? So just speak to them, be kind, and just speak to them, and just don't push yourself. Don't push that on them. You shouldn't push it on them anyway. But sometimes healing comes in many different ways. The sound of a voice, the couple of words, just sharing space, playing a song for someone, just listening to someone. That's all healing. So that's really, really want to be. And let yourself do that. Don't push it. Because then, when we push something and we're an affront to people, it closes down and that energy cannot be received. So just being that space for that person is just fine. And just being that way. Because if not, Sarah, then it becomes about you. And that's not what it's about. It's about the healing of your friend. So just be in that space for them. Okay, I hope that helps. Hi, Maria. Hi, James. I don't think I'm a medium yet. You're a small. There you go. I call myself small, medium, at large. I attract family members who are deceased before I was born. Yes. My husband's grandfather never made it to the U.S., yet he's been appealing to me for 20 years, appearing to you, which he can, of course, because there's no limitations. Same with my paternal grandfather. Never knew him, but he's been appearing since I was a teenager. Why does this happen? It happens because you have mediumistic abilities, darling. Maria, you have mediumistic abilities. Your makeup is a mediumistic. You're a magnet. You have that sensitivity. And if that's developed to a finer way, you'll be able to be in control of that if you choose to. And it's not something to worry about or be enslaved by or hurt you. It will never hurt you, but more aware of the space around you and when they're there. So again, mediumship 1 would be good for you when that comes out, because then you can learn how to control that and be in charge of it, not let it control you. So you're very mediumistic. You have that energy. Okay. You're welcome. Thank you. Hi, Gay. How can I teach our young to embrace their gifts and yet be careful as to how they share them with others and who they choose? Well, I wrote a book called Looking Beyond, and it was a book I wrote for teenagers many years ago. You can still get it. It's a good book. It helps parents and adults to teach children how to embrace their abilities, how to respect their abilities, and how to be responsible for that. And the main thing, too, is to help them realize that they're not any different than anybody else, because they're not weird. They're just in tune. And that's most important, because sometimes kids feel they're strange or they're odd, and they're just not. They're actually the opposite. So it's helping them, assuring them that they're just more sensitive. And there are techniques in there, there are little meditations, there are exercises you can do with them to help them, to speak to them. Not speak at them or below them or above them, but speak with them and share that. The thing I love to do, Gail, too, is when working with parents with children, have the parents take part in the meditations with the kids or the exercises or the activities, because it really builds a sense of trust and faith with the parents and the child. So that would help. So the book is Looking Beyond. You should look into that. Okay. Hi, Shelley. You follow me since high school. Thank you. I'm 56 now. Boy, do I feel old. Thank you. So a long-time fan, admirer. How do you feel about Cayce's teachings? Oh, Edgar Cayce was a guide of mine, can be a guide of mine, has been a guide of mine, has come to me. I think Edgar Cayce, for people that don't know, is called the Sleeping Prophet. He was a minister at one time and a photographer, and he used to fall into a slumber state, a trance state, and he was able to leave his body and go to the what we call Akashic records, the soul's records. And if someone would come to him, people who had maladies and illnesses, he'd be able to go to what's called the Akashic records, their soul records, and find out what their reasons were for their illnesses and what the best treatments would be for their illnesses. And it worked. I thought he was very, very good. They're excellent, excellent. I love at Cayce readings. There was a organization called Association of Research and Enlightenment. That was his organization. And they used to have study groups all over the world. And I formed one in Los Angeles when I first moved here in the 80s. And I love Edgar Cayce's stuff. I have an Edgar Cayce story. I was once asked to do a benefit for the ARE, Association of Research and Enlightenment, in Virginia Beach, which was Edgar Cayce's, where he started his clinic there. And I did that just to give them money to help them to continue their works. And I had to take 2 or 3 planes to get to Virginia Beach from California. I got there and I stayed at like a Days Inn hotel. It was a very moldy hotel. I remember that, near the water. Fine. And I went there on a whole Saturday, did a whole workshop and lecture or whatever. Had 700 people. It was big. I didn't get paid anything, which was fine. It was just they paid for my flight. But it was to benefit the center. And I remember thinking, I was upset that the grandson, Hugh Cayce, never came to thank me for that, because I went out of my way to help, and that he should have at least done that. It would have been the right thing to do. I went to bed that night. It was a Sunday night. I went to bed, and I was awakened early in the morning, Monday morning, I guess it would be, around 5 in the morning. I had to get an early flight. And I remember as I'm waking up in that twilight state, there was a man at the end of the bed, very tall man, and he was holding a white jacket. And very tall. I remember he had long arms. And he walked to the side of the bed. He said, Dr. Von Prague. And I said, excuse me. He goes, and I said, you're Edgar Cayce. And he goes, yes, I am Edgar Cayce. He said, Dr. Von Prague, this is for you. I want to thank you for being at my center. Thank you for coming here. And I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, you're Cayce. And I said, but I'm not a doctor. He goes, this is your jacket. He gave me a jacket. He said, yes, because you've helped to heal many hearts. And then he said, you have arthritis in your left leg, on your knee. And he referred to a reading and gave me the number of it and said that would be your remedy. So, and I thanked him very much. That was pretty shocking. 2 people drove me to the airport from this association. And I mentioned the numbers to him of the remedy. And they sent me his remedies. And sure enough, it was indeed a remedy for arthritis and castor oil and all these different mixtures. And it worked. And that was my Edgar Cayce story there. And then after that, years after that, I was doing work at Omega Institute in upstate New York. And I was going through a trance state. And Edgar came through several times in different dates, different years. And he's come through working with healing people. Not for a little while now, though. But yeah, incredible. So yeah, I have high esteem for Edgar Cayce. Okay. Safina, I'm having trouble with my clairsentient development. Am I fearing blending? Yes. So if you're having trouble, you're in your way. You're in your head. You're thinking about it. And when you think about it, it can't happen. So you have to feel it. You got to go from the head to the heart. Head to the heart. And in mediumship, I want to talk all about that. So when the course starts, we'll get really into that. But really feeling and letting go of that control stuff. Because when you start to try to control it, it doesn't work. You got to feel and you got to surrender and you got to trust. So, okay. All right, my friends. One more. Thank you, James. I'm happy to take Mediumship 1 class. I hope this info on your Facebook page. It will be it will be there, Maria. It's coming next week. And I look forward to working with all of you in Mediumship 1 who's going to take the course. And also the Shamrock sales coming up. And I will be with you soon. My 28 days of love. I'll try to figure that out later on. But until next time, God bless you. And we'll be good. Okay. Bye-bye.